The Housemaid. This is a movie I've gone to see twice at the cinema, once with my parents and once with a friend, and I loved this movie. I went to see it in Lancaster the first time and there was surprisingly a lot of people for Lancaster's View Cinema. This was a very highly anticipated movie, seeing as so many people love the books, but this is a video coming from someone who has not watched the books but knows a little bit about them through some things that I've seen on TikTok. Hi, I'm Holly and I'm making this video because I want to experiment making YouTube videos on things that I'm passionate about and I love to talk about. First, we're going to start with my initial thoughts of the movie. We're going to start with the actors, and I believe that the standout performance was Amanda Seyfried playing Nina. I think she was amazing in this role. She played this character so well, and the way that she made these scenes so intense, like specifically the kitchen scene when we first see Nina be like that, with her switching out of being really nice and then being really mean to Millie. She just made every scene feel so tense, but I don't want to get too into it now because this is just initial thoughts and I don't want to spoil things. But as we know from the kitchen scene, which was in the trailer, she was amazing. Next, we're going to talk about Brandon Sklenar, who played Nina's husband, Andrew. Now, there's not really that much that I can get into that I really loved about his character without any spoilers, but we will be getting into that into the spoiler section, but just know that his performance was absolutely amazing, and he was just great. Then lastly, of course, we have to talk about Sydney Sweeney's character, Millie, who is our main character and the housemaid, and I think she did an amazing performance and she was great all the way throughout and really got across the emotions that the scene had. The whole story was just absolutely amazing. I thought it was such a compelling story and it had me on my toes, and I was really wondering what it was going to be because I knew it was a thriller. So I knew that there was gonna probably be twists and mysteries, and I wanted to know what was going on, and I feel like it really got the intensity and all of the tense scenes across really, really well, and it really kept me intrigued and I really wanted to know what was happening. I also want to mention the music because I really liked the soundtrack for this movie. For example, they had Cinnamon Girl by Lana Del Rey playing in a certain scene where they go to the city, and I just believed that the soundtrack was amazing. There were so many good songs. It was just a great set of music. Now we're going to be getting into more in-depth and spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers for the movie, please turn back now. First, we're going to talk about Nina. Once again, Amanda Seyfried, amazing performance, and now I can talk about why. Obviously, we know that Nina was pretending to be a certain way and was acting a certain way so that Andrew would kick her out the house so that she could escape her abusive relationship with him because he was abusing her in the attic. And Amanda Seyfried's performance, acting insane in the kitchen, acting insane with the bloody bit of glass, every single bit, it just felt so tense. And another part that I especially loved was the part at the kitchen table where she says, "Oh, did you learn to cook at prison, Millie?" The way she played the character, the way it was she was like acting perfect, but at the same time acting insane. It was amazing. Next, we're going to talk about gore because I wasn't expecting a lot of gore from someone who hasn't read the book, but I also found all of the blood and the makeup effects really, really well done, and I'm very claps to the makeup department because it was really good. From Millie having to cut 21 cuts into her stomach, and then Andrew with all of the blood around his neck and his face from having to pull out the tooth and being stabbed in the neck. It just looked so creepy and disturbing, the way that it darkened in different areas depending on how much blood. It was just really, really impressive, and it made Andrew as a character near to the end even scarier. And talking about Andrew being scary, we're going to talk about how I found Andrew absolutely terrifying. Near the end, when Nina unlocks the door and Andrew shoves her out, and then we see Andrew chasing after Millie, I found that absolutely terrifying. The way he ran out the house, and then when he came back in and slammed the door with his foot and acting like he still loves Millie and acting like he still wants that relationship, which he probably does, even though he is an abuser. It was so terrifying seeing him stomp around like that. And so claps to Brandon, because he did an amazing job. And I'll be honest, I thought that Andrew did have something to do with it. From the moment we met Andrew and he was surprised at Millie's appearance in the house, I felt like something was up with him. I didn't think that it was just that Nina was insane based off the trailers. I had a feeling that it was to do with Andrew. Talking about it being to do with Andrew, we're going to actually talk about what I thought the twist was as someone who has not read the book. So, of course, we know that the twist is that Nina is pretending to be a certain way and acting a certain way, so she's going to get kicked out of the house and then she'll be able to escape and Millie will take care of him because Millie has murdered somebody before. But I initially thought that what was going to happen was there was going to be a reveal that Andrew was actually like shoveling Nina with drugs so that she would go insane somehow. That's what I thought the twist was going to be. I wasn't expecting her to suddenly reveal like, oh, I'm actually fine. But I love the twist so much. My dad said that he thought it was predictable, which I don't believe it was. And my mum, who has read the book, and my nana, who's read the book, doesn't think it's predictable either. So I don't know how my dad thinks it's predictable, but each to their own. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about what's not in the book from my knowledge. So I know that a lot of people complained about the casting because they wanted Nina to be someone who wasn't too thin and was had a bit of a bigger body size, because apparently we know she's meant to be letting herself go, so Andrew keeps picking up on that and doesn't want to be with her anymore. I still think that Amanda Seyfried did an amazing performance. Of course, it's good to show those little things like letting herself go and all of that subtext, but we can still see that she's letting herself go from her not getting her roots done and things like that. Also, there's a big scene that people wished was in there, and that is the peanut butter scene, which is in the book, and it's where Nina asked Millie to get some bits and there was peanut butter on the list, but Cece, Nina's daughter, actually has a peanut allergy. I saw that a lot of people wanted that to be in the movie, but then it wasn't. Now we're going to talk about Enzo. So, spoilers here if you have not read any more of the Housemaid books. If you've not read the second, third or fourth Housemaid book, then I'm assuming spoilers here. Enzo. I know from a lot of TikToks that Enzo and Millie have a relationship. They end up together and they get married in the book The Housemaid's Wedding. So I saw a lot of people were confused about how Enzo wasn't actually in it as much as he probably should have been to be able to set up their relationship in the second and third book. Well, 2.5, seeing as it's a novella. But yeah, I agree. I knew about the character Enzo and I kind of assumed that he might be in it more, but he turned out not to be. Now we're going to talk about the punishments in the attic that Millie goes through. So we know that in the movie, Millie accidentally drops a plate when seeing Enzo, and then she is in the attic later on and Andrew has locked her in there. And Andrew, he slides a bit of plate under the door and he asks Millie to cut lines into her stomach of how many shattered pieces of plate there were. I can't remember exactly how many, but it was deep lines in her stomach. Now this is very different to the punishment that happened in the book. In the book, Millie was told to stack a bunch of books on top of her stomach in a certain order. Maybe author order, sorry, I don't know because I haven't read the book. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the aftermath of the movie because I've seen some things on TikTok that I'm kind of surprised are on TikTok and I'm not sure if people are saying them as a joke or not. So after the movie came out, I've seen a few people saying things like, oh, I'd let Andrew put me in the attic. And I've seen people reference the roots and say, going to get my roots done. And that's because in the movie, Andrew abuses Nina because she forgets to get her roots done because she's not a natural blonde. And so she has to go touch up her roots and she doesn't get it done. So Andrew puts her in the attic and abuses her to do with her hair. And I just find it really disturbing how people are kind of romanticising the abuse in this movie and deciding to make fun and light of it when this is literally a movie about abuse. Anyway, I really did love seeing this movie. I am someone who loves to watch movies, and this one really took me by surprise, and I'm really excited for the second one. Thank you for watching this video, guys. It's a little bit of an experimentation. If you'd like to, hit like and subscribe, and maybe I'll do more movie reviews in future, or maybe I'll talk about games and other things I'm passionate about. Bye, guys.